you so much for coming out to this town hall meeting tonight. I am Commissioner George Oliver of District 4 in Ocoee, and I'll be I'm hosting the town hall meeting tonight. We have a special guest with us tonight, and before we get started, I actually want to I'll take care of that in just a second. Before we start tonight, I'm going to recognize all the elected officials here tonight with us that will be sharing. Some just here just to observe and be a part of the town hall meeting. Of course, we have Senator LaVon Bracy here tonight, who will be presenting. We also have Representative RaShon Young, also will be presenting as well. We have our mayor of Ocoee, Mayor Rusty Johnson, who's also here as well. Are there any other elected officials I can see? We also have a representative from Congressman Dan Webster's office who's here. Ms. Jones, she's here representing Congressman Dan Webster's office as well. Any other elected officials here? Okay. Before we get started, I actually want to do an invocation, and I'm going to put something on the spot. I hate to do that because the person supposed to do it is not here yet. So, Mr. Jones, could you please do us the honors of doing the invocation? And I apologize for that.
Good evening, everyone. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to be here and share. Bless each and every person that represents their family, the city of Ocoee, and the surrounding areas. God, we ask that you continue to bless each and every one of them. Thank you for the two leaders that have given of their time and their resources and their talents to be here. Father God, we ask that you bless them in a special way, that you allow them, oh God, to lead not only the city, the state, this country, in the direction that you would have us to go. Once again, I ask, oh God, that you bless each and every one that's represented here, their families, and that they have safe travels once we leave here to their destination. This we pray in our precious Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Tonight, I want to do my best to get us out of here. Again, we have Thursday night football. It's at 8 o'clock tonight, so I want to make sure we get out of here so we can see the Bills and the Dolphins play tonight for all the NFL fans out there. Once again, thank you so much for coming out tonight. I think it's very important. I try to hold these town hall meetings at least once a year. Try to bring out information that's going to affect not only the district but also our city, and kind of look at it from a perspective that is that we can say we can be proactive in things that we need to get involved in. Further, we also have the clerk of courts, Tiffany Russell is here as well, so please give her a hand. But it's super important to us, not only just myself as a city commissioner, but the entire city commission of Ocoee, that we try to get as much information out to the citizens as possible. If you ever come to a city commission meeting, you'll probably see that we typically don't have a lot of folks at our meeting, but unless we're trying to dig in your pockets or something, but everybody shows up at that point. But nonetheless, we're always looking to get information out, making sure that the citizens of Ocoee are well informed about what's going on in the state, what's going on in the county, and especially what's going on in our city. So tonight, what you're going to hear from our state representatives, and you hear about what's going on in Tallahassee. We talk about the budget, some of the different initiatives that they're looking at as we go back into session. You'll also hear some things from our city staff. Our city staff is here to present different things that's going on in the city, from our police department, fire department, public works, utilities. They're here to talk about the services that they actually provide. One of the things that most folks don't understand is the most complicated thing that we deal with. And I've kind of polled a few people on this thing in the city. And it's not the things that, it's not what happened at the commission meetings. It's not about taxes, it's not about property taxes, those things. It is when to put my trash can out for trash pickup. How does that affect us when it comes to like holidays and those kind of things? There's only like 2 days that we don't pick up trash Other than that, we always pick up trash in the city, so that is, believe it or not, a hot topic. So those are some of the things that you'll hear tonight. We'll talk about those things. Before we get started, I also want to I'll let you know, anyone that just came in, there's food over here, please. There's sandwiches and chips and water, so please go ahead and help yourself over there as well. I'm going to have Mr. Tim Ayers here. He's going to be facilitating our discussions tonight. We have an agenda where you'll be able to ask questions, get answers from the elected officials or from city staff, and then we'll go right through the agenda. We'll conclude this thing right at 8 o'clock, and I'll have you guys out before Thursday night football. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Oliver. Again, my name is Tim Ayers. I'm a 4-year resident of the city of Ocoee. Moved here because of Ocoee's history. I'm originally from Ohio, Springfield, Ohio, to be exact. And I love the city of Ocoee, so thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you, Commissioner Oliver, and your colleagues. I'm going to take a point of personal privilege for a second and kind of adjust the agenda. We're going to do the legislative updates first, if that's okay. State Senator, State Rep, are you okay with that? Okay. And then I'm going to split those two into legislative updates and then educational updates. Is that okay? All right, great. Let me introduce our two newly elected representatives to the state senate, LaVon Bracy Davis. She will be followed for a 5 to 10 minute presentation on what they anticipate will be occurring in Tallahassee. Representative Young will follow her and some of the issues they will be pressing as session begins. State Representative LaVon Bracy Davis. I think both of you are doing it.
Well, good evening, and what a delight to be here. We're gonna break the rules just a little bit and do a little tag team. So excited to be here. And usually when I come to Ocoee Lakeshore, I'm saddened because this used to be, when I was House District 40, one street out of my district. But things have now changed, and this is indeed in Senate District 15, so welcome to Senate District 15. I do acknowledge and honor the electeds that are in the room. So good to see you, Mayor. So good to see you, and thank you so much, Commissioner, and also Madam Clerk and any other electeds in the room. Pardon? Oh, and of course, our favorite soul and water, Mr. Jim. So good to see you. So really thankful, Commissioner Oliver, for creating this space for this conversation. Many know that when I ran on accessibility. So I love when folks make me put my money where my mouth is. I know you need it accessible, and conversations like this are extremely important. So first let me say thank you. Many of you all know that there was a special election that happened 2 weeks ago. Whether you voted for me or not, I just want to say thank you for being a part of the process. I'm going to assume, because I'm in a room with interested folks, I'm assuming that you all did your civic duty and voted. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And I'm not even going to just thank those that voted for me. I'm thanking you for voting and making your voices heard. So, as was mentioned, I am your newly elected state senator. I did 3 years in the House. Whenever I speak, I always call the name of Senator Geraldine Thompson, my mentor. We had conversations, long conversations about when she was ready to retire. She wanted me to run for her seat. I had no idea that that would happen 3 years after being elected to the legislature. But here I am, ready to serve, honored to serve, humbled by the opportunity to serve. So, I want to do a little rewind before we move forward. We were asked to talk a little bit about the budget and some things that were hopeful with the budget. Last night, myself and Representative RaShon Young held a budget appropriations workshop. It was standing room only, so really excited that so many nonprofits and community groups are excited to learn about how to bring home some money from the budget. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail. Also want to talk about some of the bills that we've sponsored in the past and what we're going to do in the future. So before we do that, let me introduce your new state representative, the youngest legislator in the state of Florida, Representative RaShon Young.
Good evening. I echo the sentiments of the senator. I am extremely grateful to be in this room tonight, and thank you, Commissioner Oliver, for facilitating this town hall. Again, I honor our elected officials in the room for being a part of this political process and for helping us to navigate to push Orange County in the right direction. For those of you who do not know, House District 40 consists of parts of Ocoee, Orlando, and unincorporated Orange County. So, as the senator said, just about a street over all the way down to I-4. And so northwestern Orange County is with House District 40, where House District 40 sits. And so extremely excited to be here. I'm excited about the work. I do want to take an opportunity to acknowledge both my and the senator's staff. So Ms. Faith Woods, my legislative aide, who will be traveling with me to Tallahassee. Janae McKissick, the senator's district aide, who will be here helping with constituent services, as well as Ms. Savannah Piper, who is the senator's legislative aide. A member and a policymaker is only as good as their team. And so we have assumed and created a dream team here, and are still working to finalize some staffing in both of our offices, but extremely excited about the opportunity to serve. In just about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, we will be heading back to Tallahassee as committee weeks begin. And as the senator said, there are lots of things that we're going to cover, but do want you all to know that we are anticipating that we are going to be going into a special session at some point regarding redistricting here in the state of Florida. And so that is something that has made the headlines, and we are assuming that that is, the Senate hasn't necessarily taken that up as an agenda item yet, but the House is moving ahead. And for those of you who live just on the south side of Highway 50, Representative Bruce Antone, who is the representative for House District 41, was named yesterday the ranking member for the Democrats on that committee. And it is an 11-person committee, and we have 2 legislators from Orange County sitting on that, Representative Johanna Lopez and Representative Bruce Antone. And so please share your concerns with us, or how you wish to see this process move forward with us, and we will make sure if you can't reach them that we will get it to you all. And so I am now going to pass it back over to the Senator Root so that we can start talking through some of the budget issues that happened this past legislative session. If you turned on the news, you know that this was the longest session in the history of the state of Florida. And so while I was there with her, I had to resign at the end in order to run for her seat. And so she will tell you about the 45 days after session was supposed to end and what that budget fight looked like.
So I'll say this, because hopefully we can look forward and we'll never have to worry about having a 105-day session again. We know that extended session costs taxpayer dollars, and the reason why, I don't want to bring partisanship into this conversation, but there were some folks that didn't agree, that's not necessarily on my side of the aisle, but didn't agree, and that's why we were in an extended session, because the governor didn't quite agree with the Speaker of the House, we didn't quite agree with the Senate President, and that led to an extended session. But I will say, looking forward, I'm going to be honest with you. No one in this room, or no constituent that I've ever talked to, when asking me to do some advocacy or talk about what we need to do, they never ask me about culture wars. Nobody ever called me and asked me about textbooks. Nobody ever called about rainbow flags and all of that. When you all call me, you're calling me because there's an affordability crisis. You're calling me because property insurance is high, and we've had 2 or 3 special sections, and you all were told that it was supposed to get lower, and many of you were telling me that it hasn't. That's why you're calling me, not to deal with culture wars. So I am hopeful going into this next legislative session that we have abandoned culture wars and really take some time to deal with the issues that the constituents and the issues that everyday Floridians are asking us to solve. And so, the number one thing that we are supposed to do by the Florida Constitution, it says we are to pass the budget. Now, I know you hear a lot of legislators doing a lot of other things. We're passing bills and we're doing appropriations. The only thing that the Constitution says we are supposed to do is pass the budget. And because we spent, in my opinion, a lot of time not focusing on the budget, that is what caused an extended session. Because we were, in my opinion, focused on culture wars and passing bills that the everyday Floridians didn't ask us to pass. So really, really hopeful that we can focus this session on, I know a lot of my constituents, and I'm assuming on the other side of the aisle, the constituents have talked to their state legislators and really asked them to focus on the everyday needs. So I want to talk a little bit, if I can, about what this session looks like for me from a bill perspective. Okay. So if anybody heard me on the campaign trail, I talked a lot about the bills that I passed last session. And I think that's important for you all to know, because there is perhaps a misnomer that certain folks from certain parties can't get things accomplished in Tallahassee. I think when you are committed to the people and you're able to legislate across the aisle, that's simply not true. So I want you all to know that I was the sponsor of several pieces of legislation that passed last session. One that I'm really, really proud of is HB 1405, and that has to do with juvenile justice. And the reason why this is a really great thing is because the Department of Juvenile Justice Secretary came to my office, knowing that I am a former Department of Children and Families attorney, came to my office and said the DJJ statute has not been updated in over 35 years. And we need a champion that really cares about children to run the bill. This was a 200+ page bill that refocused all of the DJJ statute. And I was the sponsor of that bill, something I'm really, really proud of. It was transformative. It really honed in on truancy, and as it relates to young folks, and not necessarily being punitive when a child is truant, but trying to figure out why. If someone is late or absent 10 or 12 days from school, there's a reason why. Is it because the child doesn't have food or transportation, or is the parent incarcerated? There's a whole bunch of reasons. And so we've created a statute that really will dig deep into the why as opposed to the punishment. So the statute offers services, and it will do some interventions and all sorts of really great things on behalf of the children. And that was, that came to me from the Department of Juvenile Justice, which is, again, you all know the makeup of the legislature, which is pretty unique for a governor appointee to come to a Democrat to run their bill. So I just want to kind of paint the framework of the advocacy that I do in Tallahassee, and oftentimes it's not partisan. So that's the bill that I'm really, really proud of. And then also, I feel the need to say this everywhere that I go. While this seems really, really minor, I've already spoken about Senator Geraldine Thompson, and we determined that because she was a great historian, and because she ensured that we remembered so many names as it relates to Black history, I thought it was extremely important that we remember her name. And so we renamed the street in front of the Wells-Built Museum, South Street, Senator Geraldine Thompson Way. And that was passed unanimously in the legislature, and I'm so proud to have sponsored that piece of legislation. So that's where we were, so let's talk about where we're going. With Senator Thompson, I filed every year the Harry T. and Harriet B. Moore Voting Rights Act. And this is the act that will undo some of what I consider harmful legislation as it relates to barriers for voters. This bill will make Election Day a holiday. This bill will clarify for those returning citizens that aren't sure if they're able to vote or not. This bill will clarify this. It will create a database and a clearinghouse. And it will undo some of the really bad legislation that keeps people from voting. Now, this is what we call a messaging bill with the leaders that are in power right now. There's not an appetite for this bill, but I will continue to file it until we can make some changes. And I'm pleased to announce that Representative RaShon Young will file the companion on the House side. This is a very powerful bill. Every time that we file it, it makes national news. It will we know that the Federal Voting Rights Act has been gutted, and this will move forward some things that are really important for voters in the state of Florida, and we will continue to follow that. That's a messaging bill. But a bill that, and then I'll hand the microphone over to Rep Young, but a bill that we are going to file again that I really feel has a appetite and the energy behind it to pass. It's bipartisan, and it has to do with youth conflict resolution. I am a firm believer that a lot that we see that is happening in our schools and with students is because they do not know how to resolve conflict. And we have the thought, how many of you all remember DARE? Okay, right. So remember when the police officer would come to your classroom and teach you about drug abuse and all of that? That's where I got this idea from, but it has nothing to do with drug abuse. It's going to be a initiative where an expert will teach students how to de-escalate and how to be an ambassador of conflict resolution, because I think it's so very important. The first time we filed it as a plan to be a pilot program. The second time we filed it in the community partnership schools. We're not necessarily sure, we're still talking through what avenue we're going to file this bill, but I think it's extremely important. I think it will definitely help with our schools and our students. I'm hearing it from the teachers, I'm hearing it from the parents, I'm hearing it from the mentors. Students do not know how to resolve conflict. And so we want to do our part in helping with that.
Outside of the bills that, because we both will be bringing both of the bills that the senator mentioned, the other bill that, healthcare is something that is extremely important to me. Healthcare access and equity for those in minority communities is something that is important. I believe and prescribe to the notion that your zip code should not determine what kind of care you get. What we are finding is that there are a lot of people who get into spaces and get into places where they only go and see a doctor when they go to the ER, and then they get the medicine, they go home, they feel a little bit better, and then they don't see a doctor again until it's time to go back to the emergency room. And so we are trying to remove that barrier of access to quality health care. And so one of the pieces of legislation that I will be filing this legislative session will create a pipeline for our major health institutions like Orlando and Advent Health here in our local community, and connecting them with federally qualified health centers and community clinics to make sure that we remove the barrier for people so that they can have continuous care. I mean, the only way for people to live a prosperous life is to live one that is focused and centered around the health of their life. And so that is something that we are going to be filing. And then we are still workshopping what the other pieces of legislation look like. And with that, I do want to invite you all, because we typically leave a slot open in our in what we can file for potential bills that we receive from our constituents at our Orange County Legislative Delegation meeting, which is October 21st from 9 to 6, where everyone in this room, you can sign up and speak to all of the members of the Orange County Legislative Delegation, senators and representatives, Democrat and Republican, all in one space. And this is one of the few opportunities where we all convene in the same space, and so I ask that you take full advantage of that. You can find out more information about our Orange County Legislative Delegation meeting on the county's website, and you can also fill out a speaker form. They give you 3 minutes to talk to us about whatever you want to talk to us about, and so we highly encourage you using your voice in that space of advocacy and action for the issues that impact you and your community. And so now I think we're going to open it up for any questions that you all have for us. I don't know, Mr. Tim, you're going to facilitate this?
You two hold on to the mic. Let me come here for a second. George, is this on?
Yeah.
This should be. Okay. I'm so excited to introduce our state senator and our state rep, but I forgot some ground rules. Please turn down your phone. Restrooms are out in the lobby. Now let's take tough questions.
Or not tough.
Or not tough.
You know.
Okay. I'm gonna give 4 individuals. You want to stand right here. An opportunity. You want to stand right behind me, sir. The opportunity to ask questions of the state senator and the state rep. We'll take the gentleman. Anyone else coming? You want to stand right behind that gentleman? Anyone else? You want to stand right behind you? Person over here. Take your time, man. We got you. Go ahead, sir.
evening. My name is Edward Jones. I'm a 40-year-plus educator in the Orange County school system, LaVon County and Seminole County. My question is, what is on your agenda to improve the educational process for our students? First of all, funding and teacher preparation and teacher retention. That's my question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the question. First, let me let you know that you have an ally in the Senate as it relates to education, especially public education. I'm a product of the public school system. I sat on the pre-K through 12 committee. I had to fight the good fights as it relates to what was happening with vouchers and, in my opinion, the funding of public schools. And I have to call that out for what it is. Now let me be clear for those that may be in the audience that support vouchers. At this point, I am not, vouchers are here to stay. They've been here for the last 25 years. But I'm sure that you know that the Florida Constitution says that we are to fully fund public education. And so what bothers me and what I speak to in committee and on the House floor and now on the Senate floor very passionately is ensuring that we fully fund public education. And what scares me a little bit is when we spent this session and the last putting so much energy in vouchers, and then I come back home and I hear Orange County Public Schools has lost 8,000 students. I hear Orange County Public Schools is having to redirect some teachers because, you know, students are, because it may be the immigration problem or what have you. So what I can promise you is you don't hear it in the news and you perhaps don't hear it in the Sentinel, but we have fighters in Tallahassee that are advocating for our teachers. I was endorsed by FEA, I was endorsed by the Classroom Teachers Association. It pains me when I hear that you have folks that are full-time teachers and also having to work at Starbucks on the weekend. I feel like if you were giving of your time and energy and resources to teach our students, then you should be able to just do that. And you shouldn't have to have a second job. And you shouldn't have to be able to, not to be able to figure out where you're going to live. And so just know that the advocacy does continue. I hear you. Understand, I hear you. But at the end of the day, we are dealing right now with a legislature that, in my opinion, this is the gospel according to Senator LaVon Bracy Davis, there is an all-out attack on the public education system. And I believe that it is so that we can say the public education system has failed so that we can put more resources in the private sector.
Our next question.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Jim Moyer. I'm elected on Soil and Water Conservation District 2 Supervisor. I have one light question and one serious question.
Jim, I can only take one question. So which one do you have?
It was just a joke. May I say the joke, please?
Yes, sir.
Since Representative Young is inheriting your position, is he going to inherit your license plate as well? And you get a new SD 15 license plate? Okay, serious question here. In regard to public schools, a little bit. As you know, this is Ocoee, the Center for Good Living. And this right here is the center of the center, right around Stark Lake and the surrounding areas, including the elementary school and middle school. I'm hoping that us as a community can come together and get the state agencies, the county and the city all to clean up Stark Lake. Because I would like future generations of children going to those schools to look outside their windows and see a clean Stark Lake.
Thank you.
I'll let Rep Young, I think that's more of a commissioner question, but I will answer. Rep Young has been eyeing my license tag since day one. It does say HD 40, I will be changing it, and he's waiting, so I just gotta get to the DMV or whatever.
Yeah, and to answer the question about the lake, I mean, as the senator said, I do think that it should retain here at home with our commissioners. However, a priority of Senator Thompson was making sure that there was the preservation of the water quality here in Central Florida. I mean, we know that the state of Florida is on the largest water table in the country. We know that we are at the flattest portion of this country, and it is because of kind of our makeup. One thing that I do want to note, Jim, is, as you know very well, we are at risk of losing the quality of water that we have. I mean, we are over polluting the water. The Ocoee water basin right up the road from us provides fresh water for Central Florida and even down south, just a little down south of this area. And so I think it is something that we have to take very serious, and making sure that, as you have said, we leave this area, this community, and this earth a better place for the generations that come. I will tell you, as a member of Gen Z, that environmental issues are extremely important to my generation of upcoming citizens and constituents. And so it is something that is on the forefront of what we are looking at, how we preserve our areas. But I will tell you that the senator and myself both will make sure that we do, within our purview, the best that we can to make sure that we allocate funds for the preservation of our water.
Distinguished gentleman.
Hi, good evening. My name is Renee Gomez. I'm from the Farm Workers Association of Florida. We're based out of Pasta. You alluded to the immigration factor, what's going on, how it's affected education here in this county. I think this past week or the week prior, the Supreme Court pretty much gave an opinion that said that immigration enforcement can target people based on their ethnicity, what language they speak, where they work, if they're at a bus stop or a car wash. Here in Florida, the agricultural sector is a big part of our economy, and about 50% make up of immigrant workers. Not all of them are undocumented, they're citizens, legal residents, legal workers. My question to you is, at the state level, right, how can we convince our immigrants, our farm workers who feed us, to stay in the state, right, because they contribute so much economically, when we see a lot of them leaving or getting unfairly targeted even if they are citizens?
Thank you for your question.
I mean, I think, and then I'll pass it over to the senator because I know that she's burning to respond to that question. I will tell you, 2 sessions ago in the 2024 legislative session, the legislature passed the bill that essentially, as you have said, kind of initiated the targeting of those minority communities, our refugees, those documented and undocumented workers who really supply the workforce for our farms here in this local area. We sat down with the Florida Farm Bureau, in their local chapter here, and they told us that it is something that they are having to deal with. It is impacting their workforce like they've never experienced before. And let me say this. When they passed the initial legislation, they came back the following session and passed a bill that said 16-year-olds, 13 to 16-year-olds could work in these industries because they had depleted the workforce for those who were supplying it in our documented and undocumented refugees who are here in the state. And so now, to fix the issue that they created, they said, now let's just take our kids out of school. Don't worry about them getting the best quality education. Don't worry about them getting good sleep at night. We're going to use them now to supply the workforce for our farms and for our construction sites because we have created this issue. And that's not how you legislate from a lens that is future focused. It is knee-jerk policies like that cause us to run into issues like we are experiencing right now that are going to negatively impact our local industry, both in agriculture and in hospitality, which, I mean, we know that this area is rich in. And so when we sat down with CFHLA and the Central Florida Hotel and Lodging Association, they're saying the same thing, that it is negatively impacting their industries. And what I can't seem to understand is how we are so pro-business, but are negatively impacting the people who are running our business industry here in this community. And so I 100% agree with you. I don't prescribe to discrimination, because that's what it is, in any form, because history truly is repeating itself. And that is the conversation that they don't want us to have, is about how we are watching history repeat itself in the discrimination and targeting of people in minority communities.
I echo all that. I think it is, and I'm an attorney, I think it is disgusting. Yeah, I said it. I think it's disgusting that the Supreme Court is basically saying profiling is okay. And it's extremely disappointing. I just talked to one of my middle school, one of the middle school administrators in my district, and they told me that they are short about 200 students this year. And they think probably 30% of them aren't back in school because of vouchers and they go on to private schools. But the rest of them, they believe, are from the immigrant community, and they believe that for whatever reason, whether they're documented or not, they don't want to cause attention, so they're not in school. We should all, this is not a partisan issue, we should all be disappointed that you have students that are not getting educated because adults can't get it together. We should be appalled, we should be disgusted, we should be disappointed that there's somebody right now that is going to be grade levels behind because of what's happening on the outside. It's really disappointing. And you talked about the agriculture industry, but that's not the only industry. You got the hospitality industry that will be affected. You've got the construction industry that will be affected. And you know what the sad part about this is? I don't think some lawmakers will really get it until it really hits their pockets. And it's sad that we should be able to understand that because this is a human issue. We should be able to understand that because we are our brother and sister's keeper. But that's not what I think is going to influence lawmakers. It's going to be when you hear that industries are going belly up because we don't have the workers, then that's when I think we're gonna start having more serious conversations, and that's really sad.
Our last two questions.
Hello, my name is Sophia. How you doing? I want to talk about, I got a question about housing, okay? I work for an organization who got rent stabilization put on the ballot and it passed. Orange County passed, and everybody loved it. It got dismantled, okay? Picked apart. They call it preemption. Okay, so, and what they did was basically take all the rights away from tenants and gave all the power to the landlords. So now, when, not only is it difficult to get housing and to afford housing, but you have management companies who are saving the owner money and causing the people who live there to live in squalor. And if they complain, they get put out. They can get evicted just cause. They don't have to renew their lease. They can get you out of there. I wanna know, how can y'all help in situations like this? I mean, we know we need to we tried to do a landlord registry. That's not happening. So we're trying to figure out a way to go around it. And that's, we're looking at some of the statutes, the way they got involved. They need to be rewritten. And so, can either of you help with this?
Thank you, ma'am, for the question.
I'll be short and then I'll let Rep Young, because you talked about renters, and Rep Young always gives a really unique perspective on renters. Just know this, I believe in home rule, and Tallahassee believes in home rule until it doesn't. So do whatever you want to do with that information, but we hear a lot in Tallahassee, you know, let the commissioners and let the mayors and let the city councilmen and city councilwomen determine. They know their district best, you know, they know, and we hear that so much until we don't. Until they decide, you know what, we don't necessarily like what the city council is doing, and we don't necessarily like what the mayors are doing. So let's go ahead and undo oftentimes the will of the people, undo oftentimes what the city council, and oftentimes that is partisan. But just know that when I say, and every legislator can't say this, because they say this, but they vote different. I say, I believe in home rule. I say, what the voters have voted for, it should be what happens. And I say, we should not be getting into the minutia of the cities and the counties when you all have elected your city commissioners and your mayors and all that kind of stuff. Let them do their job. No, why I want you to let them do their job? Because when I go to Tallahassee, I want y'all to let me do mine.
And I'll add to that, as a renter, what frustrates me so much about Tallahassee is that you have legislators who preach small government and preach allowing the people who are close to home do the work and make decisions based on those who call their communities home. And not that we are disconnected when we go to Tallahassee from the communities that we represent, but those who, the Commissioner Olivers and the Mayor Rusty Johnson, who sit in the city of Ocoee and advocate hard and dedicate their time to putting initiatives on the ballot and making things go into place to better the lives of the people who call their community home. They do all this work and they come up to Tallahassee for League of Cities Day, and the members sit on the floor and say, well, I want to acknowledge my mayor from the city of Ocoee, and I want to acknowledge my commissioners from the city of Ocoee, and then they slap them in the face with preemptions. And it really ticks me off because as a renter, as someone who has grown up on this idea of investing in the American dream, that if you work hard enough and you can provide for your family and retire with dignity and live a prosperous life, has become an American nightmare for us. For people who are stuck in this rentership cycle, who time and time again get told, you know, if you just keep working at that job, you'll get the promotion and you'll be able to get your family out of that apartment. And it never happens. And people who live in our communities, particularly Black and brown communities, die wishing they could achieve that American dream. And it is a shame. And that is why, and I hate that this is the answer, that is why elections matter. Because time and time again, our communities, we argue and we fight and we call ourselves holding these elected officials accountable and telling them and venting and showing up to town halls in their communities when they have them and meeting them in Tallahassee and walking into their offices and telling them how unpleased we are and then vote for them. Or stay at home because our one vote doesn't matter. That is why elections matter. Because we have people who do not take into consideration the cares of the people who call their communities home into consideration. And so that's how we fix it. We fix it by showing up on election day. We fix it by telling our cousins and our family, auntie and uncle, nephews, our friends, our neighbors to go and vote. That's how we fix the issue. Because when people don't show up for you, why do you continue to show up for them? And so, I mean, we can try as hard as we can. We can rage against the machine as much as we can, but this doesn't happen in a silo. Progress for our communities doesn't happen just with the legislators. It takes the people too. So we need you all when they tell us that we are speaking of an invisible community back home. When we stand on the floor and give speeches with passion about how people are hurting at home, we need home to show up in Tallahassee to remind them that we're not speaking of invisible people. And so I didn't mean to get on that soapbox, but it anchors me because I'm a renter. And I am living in this, and I have family who have been stuck in rentership for 40 years of their life. And they still aren't able to own a home, not even a mobile home, because things are so unaffordable in this country. Mr. McGill.
It is so clear that you all get it. I'm sorry, Reggie McGill, a proud product of Orange County. What you don't understand is I actually live across the street from the city of Ocoee. We've not talked about minority business, and there's a difference between minority and women-owned businesses versus small businesses. We've not talked about affirmative action, equal opportunity. As a former human relations director in the largest city in this county, discrimination is still alive and well. Can we talk about that?
Thank you for that nice question.
Oh, what a powerful question. And let's remember, you said the word affirmative action that, you know, oftentimes, I'm gonna say all the bad words tonight. DEI, WMBE, affirmative action. I know, some people think I'm cussing. I know, I get it. Remember, you know, and I'm an attorney, and remember a lot of these provisions were in place to make up for, right? We know that you know, if we were just opening up a pool of business owners for construction projects, you know, oftentimes women will not have an opportunity unless we have some WMBE, we're not gonna call them mandates anymore, suggestions, right? And so I really think, especially in places like Orange County, I really think we were making excellent progress. When you talk about having, I worked at the Dr. Phillips Center. Many of you know that. And I started at the Dr. Phillips Center when it was just an idea on a piece of paper. And we had a whole WMBE team whose job was to ensure that minorities had a piece of the pie with this $500 million project. Minorities and women were able to come off of this project and say, it wasn't just this company that made money, but me and my, you know, African-American owned company and my woman self was able to make some money as well. And what scares me is, you know, we have things like Doge and we have now WMBE, that's something I thought our community should be celebrating. We're now in a place where those are bad words. And so what makes me nervous is not only are we leaving the words behind, but I feel like we're going to be leaving the practice behind as well. Where, you know, if I do want to engage in a minority to come and be on this project, all of a sudden it becomes a DEI hire, and then you got organizations and companies and maybe municipalities say, we don't even want to even look like we're giving DEI hires, so let's just make sure that all of the folks that we hire look the same. That is problematic. I hear you. I hear you. And I would have never thought we would be living in a time where we didn't celebrate the fact that diversity, you know, Kamala Harris says that diversity is a strength. And the fact that we are making diversity a weakness, and we're thinking that because you determined to be diverse, that you are less powerful. I think it's amazing when you say you have a project and it represents what America and what Florida looks like. And the fact that, you know, we have municipalities and lawmakers now scared of that, I mean, we are regressing, you know, and I'll leave on this and I'll let Rep Young talk, but, you know, when it comes to bodily autonomy, we hear a lot of women saying that, you know, our grandmothers had more rights than we do right now, than our daughters. That's not just bodily autonomy. I mean, literally, there were more things that I had a right to as it relates to affirmative action, WMBE, just 15 years ago than right now. We should be progressing. We should be moving forward. It's disappointing.
Ditto.
Let me take a point of personal privilege. With the staff stand next to their boss. I'm gonna borrow a phrase I heard last night at a meeting. If you can't get in touch, because they're busy people, everyone in this room, if I said the program was over, would want to go up and talk to your state senator and state rep. But if you can't get in touch with them, the respective staff people that you need to reach are their staff. It's like talking to your state rep and state senator. Yes, ma'am. No, go ahead.
And the reason why that is so important, how many of you all saw me out and about when I was state representative, right? I'm gonna say this, when you all saw me, how many of you all saw RaShon Young very close by? And that's how we operate, and your aides are very close to you. Your aides are the ones that will advocate. So there are times when if you can't get close to me, know that you can't hear me, or we're not in close proximity, know that if you're chatting with those that are closest to us, it's like chatting with us, and they will pass the message. So it's very, very important to remember that our staff is an extension of us.
Ditto, and you can have a seat. Let's give them a round of applause.
And I'll go first and then I'll pass it over to the senator to close out. And for those of you who saw me in the campaign trail, you know I'm a graduate of Bethune-Cookman University. In 11 weeks, I will be finishing my master's degree from there. And so when we went to Tallahassee a couple of weeks, the senator actually is no longer senator-elect. She got sworn in a couple of weeks ago. And so they gave me an option of if I wanted to do a swearing in Tallahassee or if I wanted to do it in the district. I actually spoke to the president of Bethune-Cookman University today, and because Bethune-Cookman no holds such a near and dear place in my heart and has been pivotal in the development of who I am today and who you all have as a representative. My swearing-in will be in a couple of weeks on the campus of the Benedictine University. And so I do want to invite you all to come out and join us for that. We will post that on social media. Can I announce the senators? So she will be getting sworn in on October 6th. I thought it was October 7th.
It's October 7th.
October 7th. In Tallahassee at the state capitol at 12:45 p.m. We are going to be sending out some more information about that and posting it on social media. So please follow her at Senator LaVon Bracy Davis on Facebook and LBD for Florida on Instagram. You can also follow me on Facebook at Representative RaShon Young or RaShon for FL on Instagram, where we will be posting all of the things. I also want to announce that I will be launching very soon a community volunteer committee for those who are interested in helping us to make sure that we operationalize and keep our boots on the ground, as well as a community advisory committee for those who want to help help form the legislative and appropriations budget and for our office. And so those are some things. Also, for our Ocoee High School principal, we will be launching a unpaid internship program for credit, and then with our local universities and colleges, a paid fellowship program with our office in the spring. And so extremely excited about all the things that are going to be happening. We'll invite you, again, we pride ourselves on accessibility, and we have very regular office hours. You can go to our office at 801 North Magnolia Avenue, just down the street on down Colonial. It is off a bus route. We operate with normal office hours and are there for you to come. We will have, I'll leave with this, pardon our dust, because we are still getting settled in, but we will have an open house in December that we will also be announcing very soon. But thank you all. I'll pass it out to the Senator for any final remarks, but thank you all so much for being here tonight, and know that you have an ally in both of us, regardless of your party affiliation, regardless of where you come from or what part of, if you are a resident of Orange County, you are one of ours. And so we plan to take very good care and serve you all well. So thank you and God bless.
It was an honor to be here. I just want to remind you all that advocacy works. I was speaking to realtors this morning, and I remember every year the realtors would come to my office and to my office in Tallahassee as well, and they would talk about the business rent tax and how it was exorbitant and how we needed to do away with it. And they advocated, and you know that this last year we did away with the business rent tax. So my point is, advocacy works, and while I know there are a lot of things that are partisan in Tallahassee, not everything is partisan. Some things everybody listens to, everybody is willing to move on. So if you have an issue, if you have a concern, take that trip to Tallahassee, knock on that door, and know that advocacy is not just during session, but if you elected an elected official, they are beholden to you. You are their boss, and you have a right to speak with them, to meet with them, and for them to hear your opinion. As Rep Young said, I represent all of Senate District 15. That is the MPAs, the Democrats, and the Republicans. Thank you so much.
A round of applause. I'm going to get us back on track and introduce Dr. Ray. If you can come forward, you got 5 minutes, sir. And then I'm going to take another point of personal privilege. And we heard from our state elected officials. There's a federal level, a county level, and I'm going to give those individuals an opportunity with no questions. I'm sorry, but I got to, because you know the Dolphins are playing. I got to keep us on track for that. So, Dr. Ray, you want to come forward and tell us what's happening at the High?
Thank you. I know you gave me 5 minutes. I will take 4 because the Dolphins are playing tonight, and we have to make sure that we get you guys there. Just a little bit about me. I am the proud principal of Ocoee High School. I am Dr. Frederick Ray. This is my 2nd year on that job. Before I was the principal at Piedmont Lakes Middle School, worked at Carver Middle School, I worked at Jones High School, I worked at Evans High School, Edgewater, Cypress Creek. I have a lot of shirts in my closet, just so you guys know. Proud graduate of Evans High School. also went to Meadowbrook Middle School and Rolling Hills Elementary. I am a product of Orange County, and I am back to serve in this capacity. Just wanted to kind of give you an update of what we do at Ocoee High School. One of the things that we just finished our last graduation, we announced that we were 100% graduation rate. That means we had 100% of our students graduated, so that means we had no one who did not graduate. We are over 80% in college and career readiness, which is our acceleration. What that means is you get an acceleration point when you pass an industry certification exam. We'll get to that in a second. AP exam, ACE exam, those are all for college credit. And we have over 80% of our students, our graduating students, who have earned a point in some form or fashion when it comes to that. And one of the biggest things I was talking to Commissioner Oliver here, was discussing, we were talking about something else, but I tend to go off. One of the things I do is the students always put the students first. Sometimes it makes the teachers upset, but I tell them all the time, students are 1A, you guys are 1B, because the students are our business, and that's what I'm here for, and that's who I serve. One of the things that we were talking about was ACE diploma. And there's an opportunity for every single child in high school. I just want you guys to know that. But the information seems to not get out to the families as much. And Senator, Rep, Commissioner, just so you know, I am the policy analyst for my union, for Ocoee, this coming school year, and would love the opportunity to have these conversations with you all, because there's a lot of things that affect our children that our parents don't know. But one of the things that you didn't know, that I do want to tell you, are ACE diploma. Students that are involved in our ACE diploma track, if they pass 7 classes that are associated with the ACE diploma, 7 classes, they pass 7 classes, which means not just getting an A or B or a C in that class, but they also pass the test at the end of the year. Parents, I'm telling you, that is 100% bright futures scholarship for those students. What that means is their tuition is paid for. Also, what they do is they forego the GPA requirement and the SAT, ACT requirement as well. All you have to do is pass and graduate with an ACE diploma. A lot of my children don't get that to you because they don't want you to know that they make it an A in a class, but may not pass the test at the end of the year. To get them the college credit. Not only do you receive an ACE diploma, but you also get college credit for that. The state actually passed a new piece of legislation, I'm sure you guys know that, for the AP capstone as well, that will also provide an opportunity for students to get 100% bright futures. And that you only need to pass 6 classes as long as you take AP seminar and AP research. Then you only need to pass, for our juniors and sophomores currently, they only need to pass 4 other classes. Any AP classes. After AP research and AP seminar, which has an 80% pass rate, they just need to pass any AP classes. I just want to say that one more time. Families, please spread the word. For the sophomores and juniors, specifically, any AP classes, 100% bright futures, also foregoing the ACT, SAT requirement, also foregoing the GPA requirement that comes with it. That is 100% free tuition for kids, for students in the state of Florida to go to school, along with obtaining college credit along with it. Just thought I'd let you know for that part. My assistant principal of instruction wanted me to make sure that we mentioned that the class of 2025 earned an impressive $10,491,909 in scholarship dollars and included 57 super scholars, a testament to their dedication and excellence. In addition to these achievements, we talked about the ACE courses, but we've had in the past 120 plus students 2 years ago that graduated with ACE diplomas, 60 plus students a year ago, and now we're down to 20. And the reason why we're sinking is because I don't think our parents know. And I don't think our kids are telling our parents, because what ends up happening with the majority of our students, they'll go off and they'll do dual enrollment, which is fine. You can go to dual enrollment, which I'm gonna mention right now, which is an OTC, or Orange Technical College. It's right next door to our school, where you can get an industry certification. And there's many students who want to go that direction, which is not a problem as well. Once you earn that industry cert, a lot of students can leave high school and go straight into a job. They have electricity, carpentry, welding, and cosmetology over at the Orange County Technical Technical College, excuse me. What that does is that offers many students the opportunity to just leave school and start making money as well as go to college as well. We just got a brand new magnet. That's a brand new magnet that is a technical theater academy for right now. But it will be a full-fledged magnet within a year because we drove up a lot of participation. We have a partnership with Disney. Because of that, if a student is able to successfully navigate the program, there's an opportunity for an apprenticeship at the end of that, where they get a free opportunity by Disney, where Disney will pay them to come on as a paid intern through Pyrotechnic, and then it will also give them the opportunity to go to school for free. So I know that's a lot of information. I wanted to make sure I got that out there to you guys. If you have any questions, I will be sticking around. I don't want to put an end to the business that we have here. But we are an open door policy. If you have any questions, if you have any children, if you have anyone that has any questions, please come up to the school, ask for me, and I guarantee you no one will turn you around. All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Anyone who shares my middle name, which is Frederick, whose first name is Frederick, is someone to be applauded. Let me just echo what the Senator said in terms of some of these solutions, the problems, the challenges we face require bipartisan solutions. And so I want to recognize the representative, I think she's still here, from Congressman Dan Webster's office. Did she leave?
She left.
She left, okay, from Congressman Dan Webster's office. He serves the 11th district, of which Ocoee is a part of. And then I want to bring forth for 3 minutes my clerk, the county clerk of courts, Tiffany Moore Roberts.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you to Commissioner Oliver for the opportunity to address those who are here tonight. I want to recognize in the month of September, we are celebrating at the clerk's office 10 years of having the Self-Help Center. Who in here is aware of the Orange County Self-Help Center? All right. So it is a self-help center that we started 10 years ago. It's actually named after the late Lydia Gardner, who passed away while serving in office. But it's a self-help center to help citizens who are unable to afford an attorney. And so the issues that we address are family law cases, which is the #1 case types that we see coming to the Self-Help Center. That's divorce, that's child support, that's custody. And it's not tied to their income. So we're not gonna ask for income, we're not gonna ask how much you make. All you have to do is come in and see us. And so we have a great partnership with the Orange County Bar Association, where we charge customers $1 a minute at 15-minute increments if they have legal questions. And so we are, for this month, acknowledging our 10-year anniversary. Since we've been open, we've served almost 200,000 customers in Orange County over the 10 years, over 22,000 legal appointments. Because as we all know, and there's numerous studies that show this from our Florida Supreme Court, the American Bar Association, that 90% of our citizens will never be able to afford an attorney. Will never be able to. No one has $5,000, $10,000 to pay for a retainer to file for divorce, right? And so that's why we created the Self-Help Center, and so we are excited. And so if you know someone, because what we've learned is no one knows they need the Self-Help Center until they're in the midst of a legal crisis. So if you know of a family member who is dealing with something, it can be even a grandmother who is now has custody of their grandchildren, and OCPS has told them they need some type of legal form to enroll them in school. So again, my website is myorangeClerk.com, where you can have information about the Self-Help Center. So please share with your friends and family if you know anyone who is ever in need of legal assistance. We are here to serve the citizens of Orange County. So again, thank you for the opportunity to address everyone, and I must give a round of applause to my senator now and our state representative. She has been a huge supporter to the clerk statewide. I want to publicly thank her. We're always advocating for adequate funding for our court system. And so I just thank you all so much, and we will be back again. We have another bill. Now let me tell y'all, West Orange County, I don't know what y'all doing out here, but the Ocoee branch is my busiest branch. If you ever went to that branch on Story Road, it stays busy. Even if you walk in at 3:45, it's busy. So again, at the Story branch, we do everything. We take payments. We also marry couples there, and we handle all case types that we would even if you were downtown. The goal is to keep customers from having to go downtown, right? We know it's taxing. You pay to park in the parking garage. And because we are growing as a circuit, it is now, we're calling so many jurors that people are having to park in other garages downtown. So that's why we encourage people to go to the branches to keep the traffic from coming downtown. So the Story branch is a very busy branch. We're very proud of that branch. Hopefully the county one day will renovate that building and give us more space, because there's so much growth out here, because we now are serving all of West Orange County and even the Horizons West. And so this is a fast growing part of the county, and that's our busiest. You all are getting passports, you're getting married, one of our high performing branches in our system. So that's what we do, everything from marriage licenses, passports, and payment plans and everything else for case type.
Thank you. I'll tell you a funny story about Tiffany's office. I was down there on a serious matter. Unfortunately, it was an eviction of some individuals who were living in a property my nonprofit owns. And I didn't realize, as I'm filing the papers, they're also marrying people over here. And the best man didn't show up at one of the weddings. So I got drafted. Still don't know the copy. To be the groom's best man. So you do some interesting things in your office.
It just made me think about something, because we also like to have fun at the clerk's office. So if you know anyone who wants to marry their boo, we're having Halloween themed and wedding services on October 31st. So if you know someone who wants to marry their boo, they can do it at the clerk's office. So again, thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I'm going to hand over this portion to Commissioner Oliver, because I have some concerns myself, having to run out and put my trash out on Tuesdays and Thursdays in my pajamas, because I didn't put it out the night before. So I'm gonna let you handle this with city staff.
Absolutely, you want to get it out there the night before, so. Because sometimes they come at 7 in the morning, sometimes they come at 10 in the morning, so we just don't know, so, you want to just get the trash out the night before. Yeah. So, one of the things that I want to talk about is, I'm going to shift gears a little bit. We need to bring it down to the city. Let's talk about, our city, what happens, not only in District 4, but in the city of Ocoee. And these type of things don't happen without our city staff. Our city staff has done an amazing job in the past few years to make sure that information is given out to the community. So I definitely want to, any city staff that's here, please give them a round of applause, because this is what we talking about. So one of the things we talked about with our state legislators, we talked about youth and education and those kind of things. And that's one of the things that I ran. When I ran for the first time here in Ocoee in 2015, and I ran a lot of youth programs, because I believe youth is near and dear to me, to my heart. The thing about it is, we in the state of Florida, we invest in so many different things, development, we talk about clean water, we talk about so many different issues that we deal with, property taxes that we deal with. But one of the things that I don't think that we talk about enough is the fact that we're not investing in our youth. And that's one of the things that the city of Ocoee has done. We have invested in our youth. We have a youth council program that we started back in 2018 or 19 that we started. Our youth program allowed us to bring in kids from our high school, some middle school kids, to talk about civics, to learn about what it means to run our city. And with that, we have made a commitment to our community, to the Ocoee community, to invest in our youth. Because they're going to be the ones that's going to come back, and they're going to be our policymakers. They're going to be our legislators. They're going to be the ones standing here as our commissioners and our mayors that is actually helping our city to move forward. So we have invested in a legacy that our children can be proud of. You heard it from our principal, you heard it from our legislators, and now you're going to start hearing some of the programs that we have in place for you as citizens and our youth here to talk about from a police perspective, fire perspective, some projects that we got going on in the city. So I get a lot of phone calls about what's going on over here, what's going on over there. So tonight you're going to get an opportunity to hear about some of those things that we have going on in our city, that we are establishing a foundation for our youth. In that youth program, one thing I will tell you this is, one of the things that I'm proud of, and I know that our staff is proud of in that youth program, some of those youth that have went on to graduate from the early class, one is an Air Force pilot. We have a biochemist. We have one young lady, I turned the TV on about a month ago, Good Morning America. She was on Good Morning America, started a golf clinic for females in DC. And she started as a part of that youth program. So we encourage them to go out, live your life, get married, have families, start your careers. But we encourage them to come back and give back into the community that pours so much into you. So with that being said, I want to turn the mic over to Chief of Police, who will talk a little bit about, is he still here? Chief Osborne is still here. And he's going to come back and talk about some of the things that, the services that they offer to our citizens as well as to our youth here in the city of Ocoee. So give it up for Chief Vincent Osborne.
Thank you, Commissioner. I guess I can start off by saying, what don't we do for the kids out here? We do casting with the cop. We have a Police Explorer program that's very active. They just graduated from Academy and Seminole Community College, where they went for 2 weeks, and it was like a mini boot camp. And we can't just give the credit all to the kids, we gotta give it to their parents too, because they got up at like 8 or 30 in the morning just to get them there at 7:30 in the morning. And we have some kids that don't make it because it's like a boot camp, and they give them insight to law enforcement, what we do with K9, helicopters, SWAT. We also have a Citizens Public Safety Academy that's going on right now. It's an 9-week program. They meet once a week for several hours, and they get to also get tased the dummy. You know, they get to feel the effects of it or see what it does. A lot of this stuff is virtual now. We have the VR. You know, we're going to technology where we don't use simulators no more. Casting with the cop, I think I mentioned that. We do that a couple times a year where we take the kids over here to Stark Lake. We buy the fishing rods, we get the bait, and just have fun out there for all day long. But in addition to the kids, I just want to tell you also about a recent law change that's going to affect not just Ocoee, but the whole state of Florida. Last week, the First District Court of Appeal ruled that to require someone to carry their weapons concealed is unconstitutional and a violation of their Second Amendment right. What does that mean? You're going to start seeing people open carrying a firearm. So you're going to see a whole different aspect of the way people walk down the streets. And really there's nothing we can do. The only way that law enforcement can get involved is if we know that they're convicted felons or criminals, or if they've been deemed through the courts mentally incompetent in order to have a weapon. And we can't look at anybody and tell that. So there will be a lot of public spaces that you go to. Don't be alarmed, but that's right at our doorstep. So other than that, I have nothing else to add. We're here for you. As someone said earlier, I have an open door policy. My office is at Bluford and 50 right there. We'd love for you to stop by and see our station. We got a bunch of great men and women who love to do the job and who love to serve the community.
Thank you. We do have a section where, they'll do their presentations, but you will have an opportunity to ask questions of any one of the directors that come up and speak about, whatever department they're over. The next thing we want to talk about is fire safety. We have our fire chief here, coming up. And he's gonna talk a little about fire safety and some of the programs that we have in the city of Ocoee that most folks just don't know about. Usually we do it in Florida. So, we are very, acute to having hurricanes. And when these things happen, these disasters happen to Central Florida or our city, our fire department really goes into action. I had an opportunity, the last hurricane we had, to go into their command center and see the operation, see how it works. It is very efficient. I was very impressed with the way they operate, how they communicate with the county, and how they communicate with the state. So we have a very efficient fire department that is there at any time to answer the call for us as citizens, may it be a fire in the home or just to inspect our fire alarms in our homes. They're there to do those things in addition to make sure that we're kept safe during natural disasters.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, like Commissioner Oliver said, we are as the fire department, we're the emergency management team for the city of Ocoee. So we start studying the maps and we start watching all the weather in March, so we start getting prepared. We'll have meetings with our city staff and we'll go over our plans and make sure that, everybody's got their plan in place. What are they gonna do at so many hours out? What are they gonna do when it gets a little bit closer? What are they gonna do when it's pretty imminent that we're going to get hit by some of the bad parts of the storm there? So we work hard on that throughout the year, really, just getting prepared for the 6 months during hurricane season. But we're also ready for any emergency that might happen. It doesn't have to be a hurricane that causes us to activate our emergency EOC to start, putting out troops and calling in additional resources and so forth. The tornado can come through at any time of the year. So we're prepared for that at any time. We could get our EOC up and running within a 24-hour time. Speaking of the kids in the neighborhood, we do have some programs that we've just recently started for the kids in the program this summer, July of this summer. We started our first teen fire academy, and we had 17 high school students that came and participated in a 2-week program that we had, and they were all from the local high schools around here. And we started out with 17 and we finished with 17, and we had some very good looking prospects in this group here. So I'm thinking long term on these students here as they come in. So we give them a little taste of it during those 2 weeks. And this fall here, we were already getting ready to reach out to the high schools, or we've already reached out to high schools, but we're gonna start our cadet program. So students that are in high school now will have the opportunity to meet on a regular basis at the fire station and get an idea if the fire service is something for them. A couple years ago, we started doing sponsorships for firefighters now. So the whole plan was to start with the teens, give them a little taste to see if they're interested, get them involved in the cadet program while they're still in high school, and if they're still interested, then possibly offer them sponsorship to pay for their fire academy and their EMT, which is the minimum requirements to be a firefighter. So it's a continuous process, hopefully, to help us with our recruiting and get local young people that grew up in the city working for our department and have a vested interest in protecting the citizens of Ocoee. They didn't have such a program back when I went through, but I am a product of Ocoee. I went to West Orange High School and grew up here, and when I got hired on with the Ocoee Fire Department, it was a dream come true. And when I became the fire chief 3.5 years ago, it was just icing on the cake there. So great department. We got 4 stations. We do have a new station that's in the works. It's not a new station, but it'll be replacing an existing station that is going to make access to District 4 even more readily available for us. We have a kickoff meeting start next week for the architect to start going over the plans on it. But it's going to be located just south of Ocoee Road on Lakewood Avenue there. So it's going to give us great access to all the major points to get us all through the north end of the city there, north, east, west. We'll be able to really cut down on our response time once we get that station relocated there. AEDs, if you're not familiar with that, the automatic defibrillator devices, which save cardiac patients or have a good chance of helping a cardiac patient survive when they have a heart event. We just recently teamed up with Parent Heart Watch recently, and we installed 5 AED stations in the local parks here in Ocoee. Sudden cardiac event is one of the #1 killers of young children, and having these AED devices around, should they be in a cardiac event, will increase their chance of survival by 10% just by getting them the needed protection or the shock that they're going to need in a timely manner before we even show up. So lots of programs going on. We got an open house coming up in November. It's going to be the theme on it's going to be our 100-year anniversary. It's going to be a lot bigger than the open houses we've had in the past, so everybody's invited to come out. November 8th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It'll be at our main station here on Blueford Avenue, Station 25, 563 South Blueford Avenue. And we're just continuing to keep up with the growth of the city and move forward. Go Dolphins.
Thank you, Chief. So we talked a little bit about our youth programs, and as you can see from our police chief and our fire chief, how we actually invest into our youth. I was looking up and I just saw one of our youth walk in, Chelsea Mendez. She's actually a part of our original youth programs, and she's here. She's graduated college. You want to tell us a little bit about what you've done? I know I want to put you on the spot. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chelsea Mendez. I recently graduated from Spelman College 2 years early with my bachelor's in political science. I'm an aspiring entertainment attorney. I have a business that I recently co-founded with my mom called Elevating Women in Music that champions the soundtrack of women's lives through mentorship and a variety of different opportunities. And so yes, I'm studying currently for the LSAT to be an attorney like Senator Bracy Davis, and yes.
Thank you. These are things that we encourage our youth to come back and to give back to the city. So obviously she kind of heard the call, so she's graduated and came back to the city. She's living here and working in the city. Excuse me. And she's encouraging, we're encouraging other students to do the same. And as I speak to some of these students, I talk to our city clerk who actually runs that program. She's always in contact with these students. When they leave, they get letters of reference. One of the things we're looking at doing this year, and I was really happy to get the support of the city commission. We talked about a job program for some of our youth, even though we couldn't put it in the budget this particular time. But mid-year, we're going to relook at that and see how we can bring at least 10 youth back into the city to work summer jobs. So we are really being proactive about some of the things we can do. I think we also have some other ideas that we're able to get them to come in without paying anything. We actually have the state may be able to come in and pay some of that money to have those kids have summer jobs and have something to do during the summer. So without further ado, I'm actually going to bring someone from Public Works. We have anyone from Public Works here that will be talking about different things that's going on in the city. Like sidewalks, that's one of the big initiatives that we have done in the city of Ocoee, is we've doubled the budget that we had for our sidewalk program. So we're looking citywide to actually to repair and to add extra sidewalks throughout the city. So we have a very robust program in place right now, and it's an aggressive program over the next fiscal year to start replacing and fixing our sidewalks in the city.
Good evening, everybody. I am Milo Womack. I'm the city engineer and assistant public works director for the city of Ocoee. Just want to say I may not be a resident of the city, but I do take pride in working for the city here. I grew up over in Maitland. I went to Edgewater High School. I gotta ask the question: Were you a track coach at Edgewater? Okay, you were my track coach 15 years ago. I haven't seen you in 15 years. Hey, good track coach. I had to ask the question. He came up like, you look very familiar. That time flies. But what we do in public works, we have 5 different divisions within public works. We have our stormwater division, our facilities, streets, fleet, and administration. Our administration is the city liaison between the city and our waste connection contractor that deals with sanitation. I am mostly over our stormwater division. We have another assistant director that's over those other divisions there. Just want to highlight a few things that we do have coming up that we will be working on. Namely, I'm in charge of streets and our resurfacing program. In District 4, we will be resurfacing Clark Road between 80 Million and Ocoee Vista, which is really the last section of Clark that has not been repaved. So once we do that, then Clark would have been repaved from Silver Star all the way to McCormick Road, all within the last 5 to 6 years. So we'll be really proud of that roadway is brought up to good standards. And we'll also be resurfacing Kensington Manor, that subdivision up there off of Clairton and Ocoee. We're looking to, in fiscal year 27, to do forest trails, Wellington Place, Ohio Bay, and Richfield will be ones included on there. We have a couple other smaller sections that we'll be getting throughout the year, just smaller areas that we know need repairs in the roadways. If you have any questions or any areas that you would like to see addressed, feel free to call Public Works. You can talk to me and we can take a look at those roads to see what we can do for you. Something else that the city is working towards as part of our new comp plan that we all worked on. Something that's very important to me in the stormwater is getting our stormwater system mapped. Our utilities department, they've done a wonderful job in mapping all the city's utilities. That's in a GIS layer, a layer that you can a map that residents can easily see. We're going to be working on that on the stormwater side. So we'll be mapping out all of our stormwater system, and as we do that, analyzing all of our watersheds and our basins to help identify areas of deficiencies that need to be worked on to help with storm resiliency as well. So that's something that we'll be working on, that we do have state grant funding to go towards. This year we'll also be working on starting plans for a signal at Clark Road and Hackney Prairie. We'll also be doing a traffic study to take a look at Ocoee Vista Parkway as well. So we do have money in the budget that was approved to work on the signals there, and we also have plans to do a roadway diet on Hackney Prairie. Those plans will be, I'm doing plans myself, they'll be sent out tomorrow to our contractors, and then you'll see the road on Hackney Prairie get a little bit smaller to help control traffic just flying down there to try to slow folks down. Like was mentioned, we know sidewalks is a hot button issue. We are working very, very diligently to map the entire city right now. We've mapped all of the District 4, and we're working on mapping all the other districts within the city to have all of the entire city, every single sidewalk mapped. We have over 194 miles of sidewalk within the city, and we have a program in place now to address that, a little bit at a time. With 194 miles, it's a lot of money. It can't all be done at the same time, but we are working towards just fixing sidewalks and having that be a part of our budget every single year. So again, if there's any areas, we do have a portal on our website that you can report any sidewalk hazards or anything like that, and we can address those. But larger areas, we do have budget to get those addressed. I think those are the main things that I have, but like everyone else that came up and spoke, our office is always open. If there's any questions, feel free to call Public Works. You'll probably be directed to me, and I'm more than happy to talk with you about any issues that you have with roadways, drainage, sidewalks, and we want to get them all addressed.
Could you work on the Clark Road widening project?
Yes, sir.
That's turning off
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Yeah. It was a long time coming. It was a long project. I'm glad you got it. So, yes.
Thank you so much. All right, so, as we talked about, the Clark Road project, this is something that the commission, we had this together, some years ago, and we were able to get this going, and you see the results of our Clark Road project being completed. One of the things that's most common that we see that most folks just don't have an idea how to get them done or where to go to get it done is if your trash can, say a wheel fall off the trash can. How do you get it fixed? You call Public Works, they actually will come out and either fix it or replace your trash can. Sometimes you don't know what you need until you actually need it. So we talked about stormwater. I know it seems to be a very boring topic that most people just don't want to talk about. But until you ride down the road and you're in about 2 foot of water and your car stalls out or starting to float, then you wonder what happens to the stormwater drainage system. Well, we have a proactive approach to that. So our public works are very proactive about stormwater. It's a project that never ends. It's not saying we allocate money for those projects and then we fix it, we do what we need to do. It is an actual project that never actually ends. It's always ongoing. Water never stops. It never stops raining. There's new technology. There's always something to do with stormwater drainage. It's very important. So sometimes you don't know what you need until you actually need it. So right there, without further ado, we're going to talk about a little bit about the budget and that we just passed. Also, and some updates on current projects and initiatives.
Thank you. Mike Germer, I'm the Assistant City Manager. I'll be covering for Development Services as well with their update. Appreciate the time. We just passed a budget last night with held the millage at 4.95. So you will be receiving a letter due to our timing of meetings, due to the requirement to post a certain size ad in a paper circulation. We had to run the ad before the final budget was adopted. So you'll be receiving a trim letter that says your taxes are 5.5, that has been adopted last night at 4.95 mils, and that will be sent to the state and to the property appraiser, and will be reflected on your actual trim notice that is mailed to your residents and to your auction. So we were able to keep the millage the same at 4.95%. And in that, we were able to, that's a budget of, a general fund budget of 77 million, of which we receive about 25 million from property taxes. By law, we have to budget as if we're going to receive 95% of all of the taxes minus the exemptions. For property taxes, we have to budget as if we collect 95% of those funds. In actuality, we receive about 89 to 91%. The other percentages, obviously people that do not pay property taxes, some people appeal their values, and we receive those over the years. With that, I said we have a total budget which includes some what we call enterprise funds, restricted funds, which would be water and sewer. It would be stormwater. It would be solid waste. Would be those restricted funds. With the general fund budget, I said we received 25 million in property taxes. As you know, there's property tax reform, which our Senator and House Representative spoke about. We are looking at a budget for public safety, which are not enterprise funds, they're not restricted. We are looking at a budget of public safety police of $24 million and fire at $14 million. With those, you have our citizens have expressed we want to have a top accredited police and fire department. I'd be remiss, I just see we have an ex-city commissioner here, Larry Brinson, wanted to point him out and say hello. We want to have a highly accredited police and fire department, which we do. And you have those accreditations. To keep them, you have to constantly be upgrading equipment and providing training. For instance, in our fire department, we have to purchase 60 new radios. You've got to purchase those radios and the capital software that comes with them and equipment before they introduce the next version of the radios, and the ones you have are no longer usable. So we were able to fund all of those. We were able to fund the contract. We just ratified a contract with the police union, and we were able to cover all those costs in the budget, including an increase in the sidewalk program and the road paving program as well. So that's some highlights of the budget. Commissioner, to any other points? As you said, we'll be looking at mid-year budget, the possibility of a jobs program for the high school and college kids. What's coming up on the horizon? Well, we're in the city of Ocoee. We're still celebrating our centennial. It's a year-long celebration which covers 2 fiscal years. Our new fiscal year starts October 1, and we have to finish out the big sort of celebrations is we're going to really try for you veterans and you family members of veterans, really provide a top-notch Veterans Day festival this year. We'll have it on the lakefront. We're going to have fireworks for Veterans Day. We'll have the music festival event, and then the Jolly Jamboree Christmas. And the police and fire will continue to do their National Night Out, and they have their open house, which they continuously have. But we will then be kicking off, ending our centennial celebration. The word escaped me. The time capsule will be buried the last week of September. We did a time capsule ceremony. We had to have everything fabricated and put on top. That will be buried in last week of September, and looking forward to watching it be open in 100 years. As the chief said, we do have AEDs in all of our city parks, and we are continuing to look at other locations to get AEDs. We do have some funding for more AEDs as we move along. We have them, I know, in a lot of police vehicles and city hall, public buildings, and the parks. That was a really good program. Looking at some, we did fund a new fire engine in this year's budget as well. And the chief was talking about the new fire station. If you live up in the northwest area, you know the fire station used to be in the public shopping center. During the down years when we could pay a little rent, and they kicked us out when they could get more rent. So we moved it into the Vignetti Park. They are in a double wide or triple wide right now. But we did receive an appropriation from the state for $1 million towards the fire station, which we funded. And as we have the architect underway, we have out for bid, construction manager at risk, and we'll be making that selection in late September, early October, and really gearing up to construct this new fire station, which was a sort of a public-private partnership with the development of the area we call Ocoee Village, that North Lakewood and Claricona. Ocoee that has the new Chipotle. There'll be a new Walmart neighborhood market, grocery store going in. You got the townhomes. They set aside and constructed a pad-ready tract that we're originally looking at as some sort of a park and wellness area. But that we did a search for the best property to put the fire station on with the access, being able to get in and out, and get to the radius quickly. That was the prime spot, so we were able to shift and get that. And the developer also kicked in $400,000 and gave us the land for that. So it was a really good public-private partnership in a sense, and you'll be seeing the fruits of that coming out here pretty quickly. With kids, somehow Ocoee is becoming sort of the sports center of Central Florida for kids. We have a very good, it's a private business, but a very good cheer gym down on Blueford Avenue, Top Gun Cheer. It is well known in the state of Florida. They actually built the inside of the gym to mimic the Disney Worldwide Sports. In Orlando, that's where the big cheer competition is, and we get people from all over the world during those weeks that come and train at this gym in Ocoee. We have a really good soccer program. A company called GGS operates. They run the Ocoee Soccer League, but they have a really large soccer organization. We have a baseball academy that has travel ball and high school baseball that has won the independent league for not charter schools, but For non-public schools, they have won the championship the last 2 years, and they have most of their players go D1, D2, D3, or get selected in the Major League Baseball. We have now at the Ocoee Golf Course, we have a program for youth to be able to take golf lessons. And so we're really trying to cultivate this youth sports in Ocoee. If you've ever been to the skate park, which is fairly new, that Central Park has a skate park, a pump track, baseball field, and it also has a really good football stadium, one of the top Warner football fields around in Central Florida. We're trying to find ways to utilize that more. We have a new business coming in off of Ocoee Popka. They've leased 75,000 square feet of tilt wall industrial, and they're going to be giving basketball and volleyball lessons. And so we're just trying to capture that and figure out ways to put Ocoee on the map with youth sports. You've probably heard about the big development called Dynasty, which is a big travel ball development. Mylan just did his review on their mass grading plan. We're ready to approve that mass grading. That project's moving along. It's a large project. It's going to take a number of years to get open. You'll see a little bit of work here and there. It'll really start to ramp up. So, Commissioner, I think I've covered a lot. I'll come back under Development Services to talk about the developments in District 4. Sure, do that. So, District 4, you've had a couple developments that have been in the public that have been approved. They have not moved forward. We have the townhome development off of Ocoee Vista Parkway. They received rezoning approval. They still have 2 steps. They can combine them. They can do a preliminary plan and a final plan, which that would give them the construction documents, but they had decided to come in under the preliminary plan, and we haven't heard back on revised comments from them since July. We have, there was a public community meeting on the 7-Eleven. You've attended that, and we have not heard back from 7-Eleven since that meeting. We have a new subdivision off of Lauren Beth. It's about a 40-lot subdivision. They have their model home about ready, and they'll be coming forward with more homes to start building. They build spec homes, I believe. We have the Everest Hospital, Rehabilitation Hospital on Silver Star Road. We finally got it open for a CO, and then they sold to another company called PAM. I forget what the acronym stands for. It's a health rehabilitation company, but it is no longer called Everest. The development off McCormick Road, Wynwood, which is a D.R. Horton development. They're in their final phase of constructing their single-family homes. They donated land and built the sidewalk and will be contributing to that, whatever the improvement is at Apopka Island and McCormick Road. There was a commercial development, and it is called the Bluff, yes. On Clark-Ocoee Ocoee Road, north side, just east of Clark. And that's a family that knows how to do development. They got their little retail center with outdoor dining approved in the preliminary stage. We haven't heard back from them. Don't know where they're at, if this will come through, but that preliminary plan was approved. We did have the Wawa finally constructed and open, and behind it is a Aquasonic car wash, which has an approved small scale site plan, and expect them to break ground any day now. That's all the development.
Also, one of the things that we just passed last night, Tuesday, was the pickleball. We have a pickleball complex that's actually coming. That's actually coming. One of the unique things about the pickleball complex is actually going to be just north of the King's Furniture. There's an 18-track land, parcel of land there, and they're building this very impressive pickleball facility there. And one of the unique things about that development was we had a meeting where they came to us about putting 41 courts And, the residents showed up, which is about 400 feet away from them, to talk about the noise of the pickleball and how disturbing that would be. The developer listened to what they said. We actually disapproved, we did not approve that project at the time. They left, came back, and we had a public meeting. I think District 2, Commissioner Rosemary Wilson conducted a public meeting with that developer just like last week or so. And they came back and with a totally different plan to put it all indoors, to alleviate the noise with only one court outside, which they call it like the grand court, where they have these large tournaments on the outside, but further away from the actual residents. So these are some of the things that we've been doing as a city, working with developers, but also working with you as citizens and hearing your voice to make sure that we actually are able to serve you and provide you with the things that you want and need, as opposed to what the developers want and need in the city. So that is a part of our comprehensive plan that we just passed, to be able to listen to our citizens and make sure that we're able to provide you with the things that you need to meet you right at your needs, as opposed to what someone else thinks that we might need in our city. So we have a lot of exciting things coming up in the city. But what I want to do, I'm going to give you maybe if you have any questions, maybe like 5 minutes to ask some questions of some of the department heads that you've heard. And then what we'll do is we'll close it out. I'm going to ask some of the department heads to stay. And if you want to ask some questions, you can kind of pull them to the side and ask some questions and maybe get their cards and maybe have some dialogue with them. So if there's anyone have any questions right now, please, you can step forward to the microphone there, ask your questions, and then we'll field some questions, and then we'll close it out and allow you guys to go watch Thursday night football.
Go Bills.
Go Eagles.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, here we go.
Hi, just a quick question. You guys mentioned, the improvement of, Corporate Road in, Ocoee Island. I live on in Wynwood, I just wanted to see what's going on or what's.
That segment of road is under Orange County's full control, ownership and maintenance. As part of the developer approval, the subdivision process there's a lot of many steps. Early on in that process, the district commissioner in Orange County reached out and said, hey, we want to look at this intersection, we want to run the trail along the front, we need the developer to dedicate land, build the trail, and then requested a payment towards a future signal. It's just the time it took that development to get out of the ground and get the work done. I think Orange County has now pivoted, restudied it, and they're looking at a roundabout as the fix for that intersection of Ocoee Island and Corner Road.
Because I live there on that corner, I'm an active runner, I use the trail almost every day. And honestly, I've seen probably about 10 accidents in the last year. They're usually pretty bad, T-bones, cars going into ditches, and, I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hello, so I've been in Ocoee 16 years, I really love the city. I've talked with Commissioner Oliver on some things that I felt like with traffic in the past, and he's responded very well, and I appreciate everybody here. One of the main things that I find is that I spend a lot of time going to other surrounding cities and spending my money, right? I go to Winter Garden every morning, I run on the trail, I spend money downtown Winter Garden, we go to Horizon West, we go to Altamont, we go to all these other places. I feel that we don't have a niche in our city. I love all the ideas of development, and I see development. I'm spending time in the city all the time. We have a great school, but there's no niche that's bringing the people here. Like, I spend probably, I'd say 50% of my usually money in downtown Winter Garden. There's great taco shops out here in Ocoee. I will say that. We have amazing taco shops, respectfully. But we don't really have something like our downtown area. It's just, I know we try to make it better, but it's just not it, and we need to figure out something on a marketing level that brings people spending money in the city of Ocoee, and we just don't have it yet. And I know it's a loaded question, and I don't expect an answer right now, but I just wanted to voice that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And quick comment is, so early in the 90s when the mall came, the city looked at sort of our front door as being secret 50. So much so that where the racetrack gas station is, the development behind there was called the Ocoee Town Center. Vision of a new city hall down there and big economic development going on. When they connected the turnpike to the 429 via the 408, we had a significant drop of traffic on Colonial Drive, State Road 50. People did not need to go that way anymore. That timed with malls just starting to not be where people wanted to do their shopping. So much so, years ago, probably 2000, and I've been 19 years with the city of Ocoee. 2009, 2010, Buffalo Wild Wings was looking where the game time is, and they came back and said, we have no one driving by at 5 o'clock at night. We need families, we need people driving by. So we missed out on Buffalo Wild Wings. We tried to preserve parcels along State Road 50, your higher C3 commercial areas, for standalone restaurants, because we have the Texas Roadhouse, which is not on State Road 50, it's right off State Road 50. It doesn't have a big signage, and it is very popular. So we were able to finally get the Sunnies, and we have Mr. and Miss Crab, but yes, we do try to get restaurateurs. Interestingly, if you've been to Rustique, Rustique was a product of the owners had their business in College Park. They lived over this way. They would come to Ocoee, to Denny's late at night, and they said they opened up a restaurant in Ocoee on Old Winter Garden Road. That business blossomed, that restaurant, and they have a new site. They had to expand. And they pull a lot of people out of College Park and Metro West. And so people will travel if you have good restaurants. They're not gonna travel over for Sunny's, but we do try. We have attended the retail restaurant shows in Orlando. We've gone twice to Vegas with a developer and had a booth, shared a booth, tried to generate business. But yes, we've shifted. Our front door now is State Road 429. We City of Apopka, Winter Garden, Ocoee formed a little alliance years ago. We put money in, and we received an appropriation from the state for $100,000 to study the 429 corridor. And the economic development study said that is your all's front door. Apopka went and did a sector plan. That's where they have the hospital and all that development going on. And Ocoee and Winter Garden then did a further plan where we did a study of the 429 corridor. Those are our front doors now, and we're trying to emphasize that. So much so, we're trying to better downtown. The city is, we put together an architecturally relevant city hall. We expanded this Lakeshore Center by a third, and we did what's called a complete street on Bluford Avenue. You'll see where you have the wide sidewalks, the street trees. You have the ability to walk and bike and feel comfortable. We are now taking the streetscape from where it ends all the way down to Old Winter Garden Road. If you drive Bluford in the next couple of years, it's going to be a mess because it'll be under construction. But we're taking that all the way down to State Road 50, and we're going out to the 429. If you look when you're heading out to the 429 on Franklin Street, you'll see a 12-foot wide asphalt path. We got to start somewhere, and we were able to do that as part of the road work that's being done. Thank you.
My name is LaVon Bracy. I stand for you as a resident of Ocoee, nurse at Central, and member president of Central Florida Black Nurses Association of Orlando. I come not to ask a question, but so that the city know that we are available for health fairs and internet education. There's a lot of talk tonight about the youth and the change of healthcare. A lot of individuals will be going to emergency rooms because of the changes and lack of insurance and stuff will be coming up. So we just want to know that Central Florida Black Nurses Association is willing and able to come and educate and step in the gap for healthcare in this city, in the Orange County.
Thank you for that, yes. Orlando Health, yes. Orlando Health Central is a good partner. We're working with them. We have a new park on Bluford Avenue. It's called, we partnered with Healthy West Orange. We have a park which has exercise equipment, and Orlando Health has also added walkways to their hospital, so you can do a really walk in and exercise. We're working with Orlando Health on some health benefits for city's employees and really trying to foster that relationship more.
My name is Vivian Light Johnson, Commissioner, I'm gonna co-op your meeting for a minute. My name is Vivian Light Johnson, and we heard, the police chief talk about the open carry. And we've heard a lot about, Mr. Commissioner Oliver talking about citizens back and forth. The senator and the representative talked about citizens are part of running this government. Anybody interested in starting a petition to businesses that cater to families where children may be, to ask them to put up a do not bring your weapon in here, I would be happy to talk to you about it, because I don't think that every business should allow people to come open carry into their business. Nothing against guns, but I just don't think that that's good for a family atmosphere. If you're interested, come see me.
Good evening, sir. My name is Carissa Yatenko. I live on Prairie Oaks Court. We have some major problems in that the name of our street, because we have been living there for the last 34 years. And the next street is named Prairie Lakes Boulevard, and ours is Prairie Oaks Court. So several instances over the last 34 years. The very first one was our gutters were installed in the house next street with the same number, 1409. And then TV that we ordered got delivered there, and according to FedEx, they have delivered it to our house, but we never got the item. And then my daughter is grown up now, and she has some disabilities, so she uses access links to get to and from her work. And a lot of times, the driver shows up at 1409 Prairie Lakes Boulevard. And then this hasn't happened just once, maybe 5 times in the last 6 months. And then also, last week, Wednesday, there was a fire in the backyard of my neighbor. His shed burned down. I called 911 for the fire, for that to be extinguished. And unfortunately, I saw them pass our street and go to Prairie Lakes Boulevard. So I think it's about time that something has to be done. What do you think?
I'll just think out loud really quick, because I know we do addressing, so there's no way to change street names, because you have to contact every homeowner and every mortgage company and every insurance. Possibly, depending on the number that jumps, if it goes 9, 11, 13, or does it go 9, 13? Does it go 9, 11, 13 sequentially? Okay.
There's only 7 houses on our court, so there's only 7 houses. You have to probably
Okay.
contact for the name change. So, it's 7 houses over the years that's been built there.
Okay. I'll give you my card, hopefully, or we'll give you Milo's card, and you can get in touch with me, get in touch with us, and we'll look at that. That makes it a little bit easier, 7, than.
Yes, a whole big,
Yes.
100 or something,
Yes.
number of houses. Thank you very much.
I have a speculative question for you. I live off of Clark Road in a subdivision once you pass the. At the beginning of Clark Road lies West Oaks Mall. The 2 major tenants of West Oaks Mall are government agency and quasi-government. If those tenants were to move, has there been discussions that you could share with us about how to repurpose West Oaks?
Yes, good question. And first, West Oaks Mall is the Dillard's, owns Dillard's building and most of the parking lot in the front. JCPenney's owns the JCPenney's building and most of the parking lot on that end. Moonbeam, who owns the mall, owns the rest of that in the middle. just to say there's no way to tear it down and parcel it up and make it a big outdoor shopping center. There's some difficulties there because of multiple property owners. The owners of Moonbeam, who we've met with a number of times, their pro forma is to not build up the mall. They use it as some sort of a tax item with a lot of their other properties. We have tried to work with them. They did kick money in to help the movie theater refresh the movie theater at the time. We did get the large toll plaza funding company that took up big space. It was one manager and 1,000 hourly employees, and that, I don't know how much that building is being used now. And then we did have, I think, the clerk of court take up the building. They were looking to try to capitalize on office uses. We even got Bed Bath & Beyond call center on the bottom of one of the buildings, and then Bed Bath & Beyond went out of business. What we have done with the commission going about to do is State Road 50 is in a tax increment financing district, TIF, it's called a CRA. And real quickly what that does is the property values, when you create the CRA, stabilize, the city and county get their taxes. Any increment above the value when it was created goes into the CRA to be spent to better the CRA. When you create a CRA, you basically say this area is blighted, and this is how we're gonna bring it out of blight. We were able to add the mall into the CRA, which was started in 2006, because we could show it's blighted property. That's how bad it is. By putting it in the CRA, we do have now some funds that we can do studies, we could provide facade grants, but they've got to do work. We're not just gonna give them money to allow whatever, unless we're really gonna see some benefit. The idea is to increase that taxable value, so when the CRA goes away, we have a property that was blighted, and now it's generating good income, because non-residential development pays more in taxes, and we provide them generally less services. Didn't have the answer you wanted. We are making our way and trying the best we can. We don't control it. We've just done a code enforcement sweep out there. You're seeing they're trimming trees. They're gonna be changing signs out, trying to make it look better, because we kind of gave up and said, all right, we've got to move forward. Thank you, sir.
Before we close out, I just want to say one thing about the ball. It was really funny that this topic came up. Not funny, but I figured it might come up. While I was actually out on the re-election campaign, I had the opportunity to meet someone that is very close to the family that owns the mall. And I had an opportunity to sit down with her and have a conversation with her about the family and their ownership of the mall. And I will say this, they have not closed their ears. They are very open to some ideas. It's a matter of, they're there to make money as far as their holdings is concerned. And if something was presented to them that actually made sense to them, that they're able to capitalize on it, but we live in a capitalist society, they will be willing to actually make some changes to the mall, some concessions. So we don't know what that looks like as of now, because that conversation is very preliminary right now. I was just happy to hear that the family was interested in improvements or something along that nature. I was at the Florida League of Cities last year in Tampa, and I had the opportunity to meet a mayor, it's the National League of Cities, I'm sorry, from Shreveport, Louisiana, who had the same situation we had with the mall. It was very disenfranchised, dilapidated, and blighted. They had an opportunity to have Amazon come in and make sense to the owners of the mall to actually start an Amazon distribution center, and they actually were able to add a retail component and restaurant component to the blighted mall. So that may be a conversation that we can have as I reach out to that mayor of Shreveport and talk to her about how they got it done, and that may be something we can present to the owners of the West Coast Mall. So there is something that we can talk about. It's not just a moot conversation. It's not just something we can shut out now and just let them do what they want to do. But just to let you know that there is, interest, from the ownership of the mall to do something with it. It just has to make sense to them financially. So with that being said, I want to thank all the city staff for coming out. Could you please give them a hand for coming out and providing this information? And I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out and giving us your 2 hours to hear what's going on in the state, also in the county, and also in District 4, in the city of Ocoee. I'm City Commissioner George Oliver. I'm available to each and every one of you guys. I left my cards out there. My card, you can give me a call, you can send me an email. I'm very responsive. All of us in City Commission have open door policies, and we will always do our best to reach out to you. If you reach out to me and we keep disconnecting, if you leave me an address, I'll come knock on the door. And we'll have a conversation right there at the doorstep and get whatever you need done. But thank you so much for your time tonight. God bless you guys. And again, open door policy, please feel free to reach out to us. Anytime you need that.